Okay, so we will start very soon. Good morning, everyone. We seem to have I'll say a little technical challenge, but it should still work. Because so we are using Zoom Business Pro, and still we have, I would say, capacity issues. So this Zoom Pro can take a maximum of, I think, 300, and we have over 1,500 people registered. So we've created a fix for it. If you come in late, you'll most likely be rerouted to a live stream. You can, you get the same slides, you ask the same questions. So that shouldn't be an issue. Uh, Please give me a thumbs up if my audio is good. If you're not having any issues with feedback. Okay, that's great. And please try and keep your mics off or mute yourself. Um, so we have a smooth transmission. All right. Also, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
We're seeing your notes, not the presenter view.
All right. So I want to start recording. Yes, I haven't. I'll start the presenter view. I just want to make sure um things are set up properly. Okay, so let's go to presenter view. Okay, can you confirm again if you can see the presenter view? You can say
Yes, I can.
okay.
Good day, Mr. Banda.
All right, that's good.
Yes, please.
Yes, I can.
All right, okay. So hello everyone. Welcome. As you may know, my name is Dr. Banda Khalifa. Thank you all for joining the session. So today's session is about AI literacy, obviously, for students and researchers, right? So a quick disclosure here. This session is in collaboration or in partnership with Jenny AI, which is an academic writing tool. So you see Jenny used in the demo portion, but the governance principles that we will talk about apply to any AI tool that you're familiar with, right? The idea is for you to live here with a clear decision framework for what AI use is acceptable, what risk, and what crosses the line, right? And you also get a simple disclosure language that you can use without being defensive, okay? So as we go along, feel free to drop your question in the chat if you have it. I'll also reserve time at the end of the presentation for a quick Q&A. So this presentation is going to be in two portions. The first part is for us to kind of walk through the principles of using AI ethically. And then the second portion will be a brief demonstration of how to use a typical AI tool to help with your workflow, right? And we'll highlight some important elements. Okay. So before we talk tools, right, I want to reframe this entire conversation. For the last decade or so, we have trained students and researchers to be data literate. Everybody wants to know how to use data, how to analyze data, how to interpret data, with an emphasis on these things and how to defend evidence. Now we have a parallel requirement, AI literacy, right? Artificial intelligence. Knowing what these systems can do, what they cannot do, and where the accountability lies. And here it's the critical part, right? Institutions and publisher policy differ. So depending on where you are, if you are in an academic institution, say Harvard or Hopkins, you may have different institutional policies. And the policies also differ from journal to journal. So I just want to make you be aware that there is no single universal rule book, okay? The situation is still evolving. So this session shouldn't be like you're going to memorize a single ethical policy. It's about understanding the governance principles you can apply anywhere that aligns with the target journal or your institution's policy. The reason is that AI is already embedded in our academic writing, whether you like it or not. In academic writing workflows, editing, drafting, support, revision, and the expectation is shifting from whether people can use AI to whether they are using it responsibly and transparently. So the arguments have gone beyond whether students or researchers can use AI. Now we are talking about how can we equip students and researchers to use AI ethically, okay? And for those who want some sort of documentation to kind of show that they've completed something on AI literacy, there'll be an optional certificate at the end. We'll provide instructions later if you stick with us till the end of the presentation to know how to get access to this certificate. But the priority today is the framework and decision rules that we are going to go through. Okay. So why does AI literacy matter? All right. The idea is that AI use is now widespread and training students and researchers hasn't kept up yet. Many students and even faculty are still experimenting without a shared standard for what's acceptable, what's risky, and what crosses the line. On the right side here, you can see this is my student portal at Hopkins. Hopkins have a dedicated AI platform for all students where you can see that they've connected ChatGPT, you have Anthropic, you have Meta. So they've connected this already for students, and students have access to these platforms, right? So Hop can see Hop GPT means that now even academic institutions are understanding that, okay, now I think students can use it, but they should know how to use it well, right? Okay. And then publications or publishing entities are also adapting in real time. Many journals and publishers now have policies that require some form of disclosure. And those requirements vary by outlet.
Yeah.
And depending on which source you're using, you will see a range of estimates reported about student AI use, right? The precise number varies by survey and setting. The key here is that adoption is widespread, but the policy and training are still catching up. So you can see that in this Forbes article, a survey found 90% of college students use AI.
Yes.
Right? So we can see how widespread it is.
Okay.
So the core message here is that usage has outpaced understanding of AI. Some people are really using it, but they don't understand how to use it ethically and transparently. So today's aim is that we are going to try and close the gap with governance principles and decision rules we can all defend. Please, again, try and mute yourself so we don't have any echoes. So please try and mute yourselves. Okay. So what is AI literacy? What does AI literacy actually mean? Before we even begin, let me state that AI literacy is not the same as prompting skills or prompting ability. Prompting is a technique. AI literacy is a judgment. Okay. The fact that you can prompt well doesn't mean you have AI literacy. Okay. So AI literacy is knowing threats. Okay. The first one is that you know what AI can do well. Okay, so knowing what AI can do, what it must not do, okay, and then knowing where accountability lies or where accountability stays. So the standard is simple. You can use AI to strengthen expression, but you can't use it to outsource scholarship. So being AI literate encompasses these three elements. Knowing what the AI you're using, the specific platform, what it can do, knowing what it must not do, and then understanding where accountability lies. So fluency or AI fluency without judgment is a huge risk, okay? Because the tool can't take responsibility for whatever you submit. Let's say you submit an assignment that you use AI, or you submit a paper that you use an AI. When you've been asked to provide evidence, you cannot abdicate responsibility to the AI platform. It still lies with you, okay? All right. So this is a framework that I want you to keep with you. If you don't remember anything at all from this presentation, this is one of the slides that I need you to understand. So the framework is simple, right? Awareness, application, and accountability, okay? By awareness, we are talking about you understanding the limits of AI systems and the risk of bias or confidence errors, if you would put it that way. The second component is application, knowing how to use it, especially for expression and not for evidence generation, okay? And then for accountability, this is often the most important part. When you use an AI tool, you should be in a position to defend every line that goes into your research paper or your academic writing. You can't submit an assignment or a manuscript, and then when reviewers ask for a question, you say, I don't really know where this came from, okay? So accountability is a huge issue. So the progression here is from use to ownership. The tool can assist you, but it can't carry responsibility, okay? Okay. So now we get to know the line or the place that causes a lot of problems at times. What I want you to understand is that AI assistantship is not the same as AI authorship, okay? If AI touches any element of reasoning or conclusions, you need to take a second look. Later on in the presentation, we'll go through the safest way to use AI in some areas. Okay. Okay. So this is also the distinction that keeps a lot of people out of trouble. Or like if you're an academic person, you need to understand this particular statement that AI assistance is not AI authorship. Assistance merely means that AI is helping you express what you already know. Okay? A clearer language, better structure, clear phrasing. Okay? Authorship, AI authorship starts when AI is doing the intellectual work, like reasoning, interpretation, or generating claims that you can't defend. So the operational rule here is that You can use AI to explore options, but don't let it replace your reasoning. And never submit anything you can't defend line by line. All right, so here are some common publisher requirements. And the key phrase here is common because details vary by journal. And as I said from the beginning, these policies keep evolving because AI itself keeps evolving, right? But there are three elements that all journals or all publishers want you to know. And most academic institutions want you to also understand this, that AI cannot be listed as an author, right? So if you're listing the author list, most publishers agree that AI cannot be listed as an author. Why can't you list AI as an author? It's simple because authorship requires some form of accountability, and AI tools can't take responsibility, right? ChatGPT cannot take responsibility for your work. That is why you can't list an AI tool as an author of your paper, whether in an academic institution or in an academic institution or on a manuscript. The second agreement between academic institutions and publishers is that AI use must be disclosed, okay? Especially when you've used it in your manuscript or you've used it in your term paper or like a formal writing, an official writing. You must disclose it, okay? And then the third element here is that humans remain fully responsible for both accuracy, originality, and integrity, okay? So the takeaway here is simple. Tools are allowed, but abdication is not. Your job is to follow the target journal's instruction or your institution's pre-stated instructions so that you can defend what you submit. Now, the ethical filter is like my quick way of knowing whether whatever I'm submitting makes sense, right? Obviously, there are various ways you can use AI, but at any point in time, you would have to apply the ethical filter, especially if you're working within the academic setting or you're working on a paper, right? The first ethical filter of the triple R is relevance. So in relevance, we are trying to understand, are you using AI for what it's meant to be used, for clarity, for expression, and not for reasoning? The second R is reliability. Can you verify the output against real sources, the data, or your own writing? Can you verify the outputs? Whatever you're submitting, can you verify it? That is the reliability component. And then the last R is responsibility. Are you prepared to defend it under review, line by line? So if any one of these fails, you don't have to submit as it is, unless it is not an academic paper. The rule at the bottom here means that when you fail one, you have to go back and revise. So when you finish your paper and you realize that you can't defend every single line, you have to go and revisit it. If you can't verify the sources, you have to go back and rework it out, right? So the triple R serves as an ethical filter for your academic work. Now we can translate these ethical principles into decision making. Okay, and I call this the AI task permission map. Other papers have different names that they use and different categorizations, but the idea is that the permission map is kind of grouped into 3 elements. You have the green, the yellow, and the red zone. The green zone is what is ethically acceptable. It means that you're using AI as an editor for expression only. We'll look at examples later. And then yellow is ethically contingent. It means that it may be permitted, but only with safeguards, right? You have specific safeguards in place. Then you can use it. And then for red, usually referred to as ethically suspect. You don't delegate scholarship, okay? Anything that replaces your reasoning, interpretation, or generate evidence is a suspect, and you need to take a critical look at that. So this map is just how to stay ethical, efficient, and defensible without guessing. So knowing what is ethically acceptable and ethically contingent and ethically suspect would kind of help you navigate this process. All right, so let's start with the green, okay? The green is the safest, most defensible use. You're using AI as an editor, right? It's the most defensible and the easiest to defend. So the green encompasses using AI for grammar check, for spelling, improving readability and flow of your work, and translation of academic work sometimes. And this one, you need a human review, right? So in other words, the tool can help you polish expression, but it doesn't create any different substance, okay? So this is the green zone or the green permission map, which is ethically acceptable. And on the slide, you can see that, so this is a screenshot from Jenny AI's platform where I've uploaded a draft. And within that draft, you can see that there are various options of using AI that falls within the green zone or ethical zone. Improve fluency, paraphrase without changing the meaning, simplify. So these are examples of how to use AI that falls within the green zone. And the non-negotiable part here still states that even in the green zone, you still have to make sure that whatever edits you're accepting reflects your own voice and your way of thinking. Okay? So that is the green, ethically acceptable. Now we are in the yellow when any of these activities becomes apparent. So this is where AI use may be acceptable, but only if you treat it like a controlled assist, not a shortcut, okay? So yellow activities include something like generating an outline for your content or your manuscript, summarizing your text, because sometimes depending on how you prompt it, it can change the meaning entirely. And even brainstorming, as long as you remain the decision maker and you prevent meaningful drift. Okay. The safeguards on the right are the whole point. You verify accuracy against sources, you compare before and after, and you document the tool that you used, okay? So this is ethically contingent task. So being in a yellow doesn't mean you shouldn't use AI. It means that you can use AI, but you need to keep the receipts. You need to verify, compare, and document. This is the ethically contingent zone. Okay. Now the red is where it's high risk. And the principle here is simple. Do not delegate scholarship. Okay. So red usually includes any of these activities. Drafting de novo text, like generating an entire text from a blank page. Okay. Developing new concepts, interpreting data, writing full literature reviews, determining ethical compliance, or just using AI to check plagiarism. That isn't the most effective way. So these can be the red zone, okay? Because these are tasks where hallucinations or bias or confident but wrong reasoning can do real damage, okay? There are instances you ask an AI chatbot to generate a paragraph and they make up all sort of information. They sound confident, but sometimes it's wrong. Even the citations they generate are wrong. So the stance here is avoid the red zone unless your school policy or the journal's policy explicitly allows it, and you can strictly verify. This has an additional layer of verification. If you will use AI to draft de novo, then you must be in a position to go through every single line, make sure every single line is verifiable, and it still reflects your voice, okay? So this is how you kind of looking at the permission map: ethically acceptable, ethically contingent, and ethically suspect. Now, this is important because these failure modes is very common, okay? The first more of common failure modes is sometimes hallucinations. Confident text that simply isn't true, and you know it's not true. You ask ChatGPT, "Are you sure?" And then the next response will be, "Oh, my bad. I didn't take into consideration this." Okay, and sometimes there's bias propagation because the model reflects patterns in training data, not neutral scholarship. Okay. The second failure mode is reference unreliability. Sorry. ChatGPT and other platforms are improving in terms of generating citations that are accurate, but you still need to check, okay? And then there's element of plagiarism or copyright risk, reusing phrases and over-reliance, okay? So the bottom line is that AI make writing smoother. That is how I use it for most of my academic work. It is a purely academic work. AI can make your writing smoother, but sometimes it does not make it accurate. Your job is to verify it. Okay. So there is a paper here that I've kind of tagged here that talks about artificial intelligence assistant academic writing recommendations. Okay. So in this paper, I mean, it's similar to the framework we went through. Instead of the green, yellow, and the red zone, they use some form of, tiers, right? So they have tier 1, means that AI is acceptable. Tier 2 means AI is contingent, and Tier 3 means not recommended. But obviously, not recommended doesn't mean you shouldn't use it, but it has an additional strict requirement. Okay. So Tier 1 may reflect our green zone, grammar, spelling, readability, translation. Tier 2 would reflect our yellow zone, generating outlines, summaries, brainstorming. And Tier 3, de novo drafting, new concept, data interpretation. Okay. So if you're interested, I think you can just search for this paper. It has like very good ethical principles that you can uh, use in addition to this presentation. So it's by Chen and then Aaron. So it's you can look at this later, but it has the same principles as the ones we're going through. Okay. So as an author or as a student who is working with research papers or working in an academic setting, this should be your pre-submission safety check. 4 questions that will keep AI use defensible. Okay. The first is intellectual contribution. Before you submit, you need to ask yourself, are the primary ideas and interpretations yours? Okay. The second is academic competency. Did the AI support your work without replacing core research or writing skill? The next checklist is accuracy. Did you double check every claim, reference for potential biases, okay, or inaccuracies? And then the last is transparency. Could you state exactly how and where AI was used in plain language? All right. If your answer is no to any of this, it may be a red flag. Okay. So this is like your 4-question checklist before you submit anything for academic purposes, right? Remember, I said academic purposes. It's not, you don't have to run through this if you're generating a content for your LinkedIn or generating a content for Facebook or YouTube. Okay. But in academic setting where your credibility is on the line, you need to go through this checklist. Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll just go through this. I wanted us to take maybe 2 minutes break. But we can, I think we have a few slides here. We can go through this. Now, so now that we've kind of set the ethical boundaries, this brief section, I think it's about 2 slides or so, is about safe prompting. Okay. It's not to make you a prompting expert, but it's to let you know how you can use AI efficiently without drifting into authorship. Okay. So the prompt books that I've developed is a simple idea. Okay. Because sometimes or most times you don't chat with the model, you give it constraints or you give it instructions. So it stays in the green and the yellow zone. Okay. So the goal here is not a fancy long prompt. It's a controlled output that you can verify, document, and disclose. And I was lucky to take this course early on in 2023 when ChatGPT initially came and everybody was learning prompting. So there's a course on prompt engineering for ChatGPT and other AI models, which is pretty good. So this course has really served me well for a lot while. And I would say it's still worth it. So if you're interested in learning all the prompt architecture this will be a good course to take, right? So when I say a well-framed prompt, what I really mean is guardrails in the academic setting. So the AI supports clarify and structure without generating claims or non-existent citations. Okay. So as a student or as a young researcher, I would say that this is the only prompting concept that you really need. A good prompt is a 4-layer stack. Okay. A good prompt is a 4-layer stack. And the purpose is control, not creativity. You're not trying to be creative. You're trying to control, you're trying to control how the output looks. Okay. The first architecture or the first layer is the role layer. Okay. So the role sets the standard. Okay. So, you know, the role that you want the tool to play is very critical and it determines the kind of output you get. So an example here is, for example, if you wanted to act as an epidemiologist, you can act it to you can ask it to act as a research assistant or a reviewer, right? So this is a role layer. It defines the expertise or stance. The next layer okay. I think we still have some echoes in the background. Please mute yourselves. The next layer is context. Okay. So context tells the AI what kind of manuscript or where your audience is. Okay. So the setting and the audience. So context adds a background, data source, or audience. An example is maybe you're preparing a manuscript for the Lancet Global Health. And the next layer is task. Specify the action, exactly what you want AI to do. Stop giving ChatGPT and other AI chatbots a prompt like, can you make this better? This is not a good prompt, right? So you need to specify role, context, task, be specific enough. And then the most important part for me as an academic, or for me who, for anybody who understands credibility in research and academic work, is constraints or the guardrails. Okay. The constraints is to set boundaries and output expectations. Okay, so this can be to maintain academic tone, to keep placeholders, don't invent data, don't add any citations. Okay, so the takeaway here is that if you want AI to stay in the green or the yellow zone, you don't ask for help or you don't give a generic prompt. You give a structure plus boundaries. An example of a relatively good prompt using the structure that we've defined is that, I mean, you don't have to put all these in front of the prompt. It can be like a one phrase or one paragraph or so. You are a senior epidemiologist trained in systematic review methods. This defines a role. You're writing for the Lancet Global Health audience. This is like context. The task is that summarize the following paragraph into 150 words for a literature review introduction, highlighting global trends and research gaps. Okay, that is the task. And the constraint here we are giving it is that it should maintain academic tone, preserve citation placeholders, and not invent any findings. Okay, so this gives you a better output than simply saying, give me 150 words of literature review. Okay, an architecture like this helps you avoid the trap of AI drifting into the red zone. Another prompt technique that I'll leave with you is what I call the question refinement pattern. Okay, so this is a prompt that makes every subsequent question be a better version of the first. Okay, so ChatGPT, if you issue this prompt, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, all those chatbots will suggest a better version of your prompt. Okay, and sometimes you can add an additional requirement that it should ask you whether to use the new prompt or not. Okay, so the prompt is that from now on, whenever I ask a question, suggest a better version of my prompt or question instead. So an example here is that before, for example, before I start working on a new window or on a new chat, I would say from now on, whenever I ask a question, suggest a better version of the question I use, prompt me if I would like to use the better version instead. So I give this initial instruction to ChatGPT or to any other chatbot you're familiar with. And then it will update its memory and respond by saying, okay, got it. From now on, whenever you ask a question, I will first suggest a clearer or stronger version of the question. Okay. An example is this. So explain the concept of causal inference for a graduate school audience. Okay. Then it says suggested improved version of the question. Explain the core concepts or the core principles of causal inference for a graduate level audience, including key assumptions, common methods, and typical sources of bias. So it's taking my generic prompts and kind of made it better, but it is still asking me if I would like it to use this improved version. If I accept, I can say yes, and then it can go on and generate an output. Okay, so this is the question refinement prompt. So uh, in order not to drag the prompt section too long, I'm developing a set of books or prompt books that will be available very soon. So I'll send out an email to kind of gauge the interest in this set of prompt books. So there's one for summaries, grant and proposal writing, prompt for effective paraphrasing, manuscript writing prompts, critical synthesis and review of prompts. So these are all, like, I would say, books that I'm not say ebooks that I'm developing. When it's ready, obviously I'll share this with my community. All right. So this next section is where most people get it wrong. I'm going to show you where AI fits, where it doesn't, and what defensible looks like in practice. Okay. So as we said initially, this is a workflow that keeps AI use defensible. You should always have a human in the loop. Okay. You start with the drafts. You, the human, starts with the drafts That's the best use. AI refines it for you. Then you verify it and then you submit it. Okay. The bottom line is still the same. Ownership never transfers. So you always have to have yourself being in the loop to start the draft, verify it, and submit it. Now, we spoke about disclosure, and it's important to understand how disclosure works. Okay. Disclosure is important because non-disclosure can violate general and institutional policy. If you use an AI and you don't disclose it, it becomes a credibility issue. Okay. So disclosing that you use an AI strengthens your credibility and you can actually defend whatever output you put there. Right. We all know that these days 80-90% of people are using AI. So disclosing that you're using the AI doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. It just means that you want to strengthen your own credibility. Okay. So think of disclosure as a credibility insurance. All right. So what does disclosure look like? Okay. A good disclosure is specific and is precise. And a good disclosure includes three things: the tool name, either ChatGPT or Jenny AI, the task it assisted you with, and a clear statement that human retain control. Okay, this means that you reviewed it yourself, you verified, and you approved the final text. So, an example of a disclosure statement that you can add in your writing is, for example, saying Jenny AI was used for sentence level language refinements. Okay, so this is a tool name and how it assisted you. And then the next statement is all content was reviewed and approved by the artist. It means that human control has been stated. So, nature says, like, gives an example of a disclosure statement. This manuscript was prepared with assistance of ChatGPT to improve linguistic readability. Okay. It needs to add all content was reviewed and approved by the artist. And in Springer, this says this manuscript was prepared with the assistance of ChatGPT, a language model developed by OpenAI, which was used for refining language. The artists have reviewed, revised, and approved the final content. So this is a complete disclosure statement because it stated the tool, it stated the task, and stated that human remained control. Okay. So this is the basic structure of disclosure. You're not being defensive or you're not adding a lot of stories. Okay. So another example of, for example, transparency, AI transparency is the 4C. Is your disclosure easy to understand? Right? Clear, context. Does it state where AI was used? Which specific section? Control. Do you explicitly state that the researcher retained oversight? And compliance. Does it follow the institution or the general policy? Okay. So if you can answer yes to all of these, then your disclosure statement is in the safe zone. In academic institutions, sometimes they would ask you to even cite. Remember in the beginning, I said journals don't require citations per se. And they don't require you to add AI as artists. But in some academic institutions, like in Hopkins, one of the courses I took, you have to state or you have to cite any chatbot or any AI tool you used. Okay. So citations convention vary. Okay. So if you are supposed to cite in an academic setting, this is just an example only. Most of the time, you state the company name, the year, the tool, the version you used, a brief descriptor, and then the URL. Okay, so this is like a typical structure of how you cite an AI tool when you are asked to provide citation. It's the same way these days, citing AI generated images have become very common. Okay, so if you've used AI to generate an image that you've used in your academic work, you should cite it. And the citation takes a similar description. Maybe if you got an AI generated illustration of a futuristic cityscape created using Dale or created using these days there's nano banana and all that. And then the date, the company, and the year. Okay. So there are instances where you have to cite images and cite um, your actual output. Okay. So then we are done, almost done with the first portion. I think this is the last slide for the first component. So this is the standard I want you to leave here with, right? Strong researchers use AI openly, but they still think independently, okay? Meaning the reasoning, the interpretation, and the claims remain human owned, okay? Then they disclose precisely the tool, the task, the human control without being defensive, okay? They'll be able to defend confidently because they verified the output and kept the scholarship intact. If I submit any work and I'm called to defend it, I know I can defend it because I have verified every single source, whether I used AI in generating it or not. So the final takeaway for the ethical principle portion is that AI doesn't make you credible. It's your judgment that does. So this is like the first portion of the ethical frameworks and how to use AI in the best form possible as an academic, whether you've been a student or you've been an early researcher. Obviously, if you're using it for other things, you have the luxury to go as deep in the red as possible. Okay, but this is in the context of being a student and trying to use AI ethically. Okay. All right. So maybe we'll take 2-3 minutes break. And then when we come back, we would go through an example of how to use Jenny AI to kind of work through your writing. And then we'll have Shane also talk about how to avoid plagiarism by demonstrating how to use a platform to check your citation, to track the sources of your work. I would say this is also like a very critical portion of the presentation. This shouldn't take too long. It will take about 10 minutes. And then we'll talk about the logistics for the certificate and the logistics for um uh you know the surprise offer from Jenny. All right, so we'll take 5 minutes break. My throat is dry. Let me get some water, and then we can continue. So it's 10 o'clock by my clock here. So maybe you'll come back 10:05. So we'll come back 10:05. So 4 minutes from now. All right. All right. So I think we are back. Let me confirm whether there is Shane here. Okay. Shane, can you mute your mic? Okay.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. So what I would do is I would just um I would just show my screen and then um we'll go through how I typically use Jenny AI for staying in the green zone. And then afterwards, Shane will take 10 minutes to kind of walk through how to use a platform for citations, and also uh, discussing a very important feature called Web Importer, which has been very useful this couple of days for me. All right, so let me try and see if I can log in from here. Okay, so let me see. Okay. Can you kind of see my screen here? I just logged on.
Yes, we can.
Okay, maybe okay, so this is how the platform looks like. And then I'll log in. So when you log in, you have like a couple of options. You can start from scratch. So you can start by creating a new document or importing your document that you already have. Or you can use the AI chat, or you can upload articles to the library. So typically, most of the time, if I want to use it, let's say I'm working on a draft, I can copy a portion of the draft. I'll copy a portion of the draft. Let me see if I have my draft here. Okay, so you can start with a prompt. You can press enter to start from scratch, or you can import a document to work on. So if I start from here, let's see, I'm trying to paste. Or okay, let's see okay, so let's see, we are trying to stay in the yellow zone. So we want to generate maybe an outline, right? So I would say the role of a prompt is act as a research assistant. Um, uh, we are writing a literature review for an end of term exam at University of Ghana. Okay. Task, summarize in 150 words. Summarize in 150 words the current evidence on mpox vaccines against clade 1B infection. And our constraint here is keep academic tone, don't fabricate sources. Okay, let's start with here. So, I mean, even now it says it's a green prompt. So you can, if you want to generate an outline, you can start with headings, like add standard headings or smart headings or no headings at all. Okay, so let's pick this. Okay, so it provides an outline for you. Current evidence of mpox vaccines against clade 1B infection. So it provides an introduction, a literature review section, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. Okay. So remember that it's your prompt will determine how strong your output is. Okay. So what I want to do is to say that, okay, I have this particular paragraph, whether from your text or you've used AI to generate a section of it. You want to rewrite it, or you want to paraphrase it. Either is a transition you want to change to make it more smooth, or you want to ensure that the tone is academic. You can highlight a portion. Let's say we've highlighted 2 sentences, right? And then we want to use AI edit. So on the AI edit, you can improve the flow, which will fix flow issues, add transitions, or remove redundancies. So this is particularly useful when, for example, you have a paper and you want to review the paper, you upload it, you check for flow issues, transitions, remove redundancies, and then most importantly, if you want to paraphrase, if you got the idea from a different text and you haven't paraphrased it well enough, then you can use a paraphrase feature to paraphrase it either academically, persuasively, boldly, depending on the context. But most of the time that I've used it, you paraphrase it and make it sound more academic. So these use cases stay in the green zone: influence, fluency, paraphrase, simplify. Now, when it comes to strengthen argument and counter argument, this is a bit in the yellow zone. So even if you use this to strengthen your argument, you would have to ask yourself, do you agree with this argument? Do you understand? Can you defend it? If you can defend it, then that becomes useful. Okay, so this is how the the paraphrasing works. So for example, if I click on paraphrase academically, it goes through for a moment and then it generates a new version and then tells you exactly what it has paraphrased. And then it tells you what it has paraphrased. I have a lot of people private DMs. Okay. All right. So this is how you typically use one of the favorite features I use in Gen AI, the writing flow, the paraphrasing, the simplification of your statement or of your sentences. And there's a prompt book as well for how to use Gen AI. I'll share that after this presentation, where I have series of prompts that you can use to kind of guide you in making effective use of the platform. Okay, so Shane, perhaps you can walk us through the citations and the web importer, which has become my other favorite features. So let me try and stop my screen, and then maybe you can share your screen.
Yes. Yeah, let me do that. 1 second. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for passing on the mic to me. And hello to everybody participating in this workshop. So to give a brief introduction, my name is Shane and I'm part of the Jenny AI team. So you saw a little bit about it earlier when Dr. Banda showed it, but Jenny is a research writing workspace that is designed to help researchers draft, cite, and proofread more efficiently. So once again, good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you guys are attending from. Thank you for being here. As mentioned, I will be giving you guys a brief demonstration of Jenny to give you a better idea of how to use our platform more effectively. But I will only be focusing on features that complement the topic of this workshop the most. So since we are talking about AI literacy for students and researchers, I think one of the most pressing questions and debates that we have in the education field right now is about AI detection and the whole issue surrounding detecting AI text. Now, depending on who you're talking to, the perceptions of AI detection can vary quite a bit. A lot of higher education institutions like graduate, postgraduate, and above have accepted the fact that AI detection tools are not that reliable. So Dr. Banda touched up a bit on it earlier, but a lot of policies in higher educations and research journals have shifted from using AI detection tools to actually being more transparent about your use of AI. But of course, it's still important to double check the requirements of the specific journal that you're submitting to before proceeding. But because Jenny was built as a platform for researchers whose ultimate goal is to publish a research paper in journals, our AI detection policy also reflects that. So instead of an AI detection tool, we have an AI declaration tag. So I hope my screen will load. Okay. So let me pull up a sample paper over here. So if you go into Jenny, you'll see a writing editor in the middle of your screen. It's just as you would like a Microsoft Word software or Google Docs. And then you can write your draft directly here in the middle. Now, if you just type an AI declaration command by using / AI declaration, you do this, Jenny will automatically give you a declaration of AI usage clause that you can use in your document. So this disclosure aligns with standards from frameworks like the OECD AI principles and UNESCO's ethics of AI. And if you look at my screen now, a lot of authors have already used this declaration with Jenny in their published works. Very exciting. So I just wanted to give a disclosure on that because I know some people are still a bit iffy on the fence of using AI in research, although we have established that everybody's using it these days, whether you like it or not. So moving on, one of the other main considerations in research writing is the issue of plagiarism. And as you may know, the main way to avoid plagiarism is by citing your sources properly and giving credit where credit is due. Of course, given the statement, one of the most important things that you have to do is to ensure that your citations are real and verifiable. This became an issue pretty recently because ChatGPT was reported to give out fake citations, which obviously we don't want. So one thing you can rest assured with Jenny is that all of our citations are real and you can actually access them in a click of a button. So Jenny's database is solely comprised of peer-reviewed research papers. And so when you hover over a citation, let's say this one by Bailey, you have an option to open the PDF directly in Jenny like so. There we go. So all of the citations are linked to the actual paper, so you can verify and check. You can read the paper for yourself. You can delve into, you can chat with your paper in Jenny, but that's a discussion for another time. But yeah, so that's how you are able to verify your sources. And since all of you are researchers, I'm assuming, I'm sure you're familiar with reference management softwares like Zotero or Mendeley. Basically, Jenny's core design principle was based on streamlining the research writing process. So traditionally, research writing workflows looked something like this. You would manage your references in Zotero or Mendeley, and then you would go to Microsoft Word and Google Docs maybe to write your draft. And then if you had a question, maybe you'll ask your advisor, or nowadays you'll ask ChatGPT for some insights or some proofreading tips, right? But in Jenny, what we've tried to do is just consolidate that into one platform, so you don't have to keep switching tabs and you don't have to keep, switching windows as well, because that can also break your flow. So in line with that, yeah, I was just talking about the importance of citations. In line with that, Jenny has its own citation management library here on the left-hand side. So this is where you can compile and organize all of your references, so everything is in one place. And then if you want to cite something, you can just click this little cite button here, and that's going to go straight into your document. So this is going to be formatted in your citation style of choice. Jenny currently has over 2,600, if I'm not mistaken, citation styles. So we have the main ones: APA, Chicago, Harvard, IEEE, MLA, and we also have citation styles for specific journals. So just feel free to search whichever citation style you need. I would hope that we have it from our 2,600 citation style collections. But yeah, so there are multiple ways that you can populate your research library. First is through uploading PDFs directly onto Jenny. So you can upload up to 100 PDFs at a time, but you can store more of these in your library. And then you can also connect your Zotero and Mendeley account if you already have existing reference management software libraries. You can also directly import a BibTeX file, or just paste an ID like a DOI, an archive link, a PubMed identifier, or an ISBN number. Another way you could do this is, Dr. Banda actually mentioned this earlier, is through our web importer. So what Jenny Web Importer is, I'm not going to show the full demo of this tool, but it's basically a Chrome extension that you can add onto your little browser. So it supports Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. Not yet on Safari, unfortunately, but we're working on that. And what it does is it's going to help you add papers directly while you're searching to your Jenny library, so you don't have to download a PDF and then upload a PDF onto Jenny, or like copy paste the DOI, paste the DOI and whatnot. So I don't know if you can see, I don't know if the overlays are seen, but right now there are add to Jenny buttons beside the titles of the research papers over here. And so if you click an add to Jenny button, oh, there we go. If you click one of the buttons, the web importer is actually going to pull the metadata from that paper, and then you can add that directly to your library, whichever collection or topic you're working on. So it just eliminates the need for just downloading and just like getting out of the flow. And so you're always like kind of in tune of like, oh, I'm doing research, I am like adding papers into my library without having anything to distract you. So let me go back to my Jenny screen. Right. So now populating your reference library ensures that all of your references that are in Jenny are papers that, one, you've read, and two, you've understood. But I would like to let you know that Jenny also supports citation discovery outside of your uploaded papers. So one way to do that is through our cite function. For example, let's say I have an argument that I think is kind of weak and I want to add a citation to strengthen it a little bit further. Let's say this one. So now let me just highlight that, and then you will notice that there's this little add cite button here. If you click that, you are going to get access to our citation pop over menu. And this one you can toggle. I already have a bunch of papers in my library about this topic, so I can actually scour my library for a citation that could fit that argument. Or I could also tell Jenny to, oh, give me some citations that are from your research database through the Discover tab. And then we have a bunch of filtering options here. We could sort it however you want, or we could also filter the year. So if you only want to work with recent sources, you could do that. And then once you've verified the sources, I highly encourage you guys to actually view the source, read it, understand it, and see if it actually supports your argument. And then once it does, just click cite here, and then it is automatically going to be added there. So this is Hearus. I hope I'm saying that right. Hearus, and you'll see that Hearus is also automatically added in your reference list at the bottom. So there's no need to manually just format everything once again. Yeah, so with that, we've covered AI declaration and transparency, and I've also touched up a little bit upon Jenny's citation capabilities. Now I want to talk about the AI chat. So I'm sure the question that comes to mind is, what makes Jenny's chat different from ChatGPT, for example? First of all, Jenny's chat can be configured into certain contexts. So if you want Jenny to only refer to the papers in your library, in other words, papers you've already read and trust, you can actually turn the web context off and turn the library context on. So this is going to tell Jenny, hey, Jenny, just look at the papers and get information from the papers from my library when Jenny generates a response. So that's how you filter through kind of like the source scope. And one of the most important things about Jenny's chat, which differentiates it from ChatGPT, is that its responses actually come from actual sources that back it up. So you know exactly where a piece of information is coming from. Let me show you. Let's say I want to ask Jenny a question about my paper about the ketogenic diet. I have a sample question over here. So let's say I want to ask Jenny, what are some of the negative long-term effects of a ketogenic diet? And I want Jenny to look through the web for responses that support this or answer this question. Let's wait a little bit. Let's see what Jenny says. As you can see, it also shows like the steps Jenny takes in actually generating a response. There we go. Let's wait for it to finish. Oopsie. All right. I think that's done. Never mind. Okay, this is a lot of, okay, there we go. So now you can see all of Jenny's responses come with actual in-text citations to back it up. And then from these in-text citations, you can go in and see these papers. So for example, this one by, let's do this one by Zhu. If you open full text, you can see the paper within the Jenny platform itself. So it's not like you have to open a new journal tab or anything of the sort. And once you open this, any of the responses that come with the quotation marks, it is going to highlight the exact portion of text it got its response from in yellow. So you know exactly where in a paper itself it was taken from for complete transparency. So yeah. Now Jenny has a lot of other features to help support you with ideation, with editing, with proofreading and reference analysis, and so on and so forth. But I wanted to constrain this demo session to just the features that I think is going to be useful for you in your research writing. So this was a quick demo of some of Jenny's features. So given that this is just the tip of the iceberg, if you'd like to try out Jenny for yourself, you can do so for free at jenny.ai. And if you like it enough to actually subscribe, and if you find it helpful enough, the attendees of this workshop will actually get an exclusive offer that Dr. Banda and I prepared just for you guys. So it's going to be a 30% off for 3 months at Jenny with the code AI Literacy. I think Dr. Banda will be displaying that later on after I stop sharing my screen. But this code is only going to be valid up until 48 hours after the workshop. So I highly recommend that you guys try the tool out for yourself, see if you like it, and then claim the discount as soon as possible. But yeah, I hope this short segment helped you guys, and I will be handing the reins back to Dr. Banda. Thank you.
Yeah, Shane, thank you. Thank you so much for going through that. I think you summarized it perfectly, and you highlighted some of the most important features, especially the citation, and actually being able to open the actual article and reading it to confirm that, yes, this is actually the source that it's coming from. So thank you. So before we kind of conclude, as Shane said, there are a couple of ways we can do this. Let me see. Continue to share in PowerPoint window. Okay. So for those who are here, we will send out details, or you can literally use it. We have, as Shane said, they are providing 30% off for those who are interested in exploring this a bit deeper. It's free, but there's limitations to how the extent to which you can use it. So if you have a paper coming up, you are in graduate school and you're looking to really use this as part of your writing tools, then you have a 30% off for 3 months. I think the code is AI literacy, right? Is it like one word, or it's two separate words?
Yes, it's one word without space.
Okay, so yeah, so it's AI literacy as the discount code, and you can see it on the screen here. And then for those who want to, for example, if let's say you are first semester of your graduate school journey, or bachelor's journey, and you want a more reliable AI platform to use, then you can have an unlimited discount of 20% off that you have to use Banda 20 as a discount code. So yes, this is what you would get. The second um, the second option that, or this the element about the certificate I spoke about is that for anyone who wants the documentation, as I said, this is optional for those who want it. And it will be awarded only after you pass an assessment. So there will be an initial assessment. I'll send out an email with the links and details on how to complete the assessment. I think it's about 5 questions, multiple choice questions, and then details on how you can get a certificate from this. Yeah, I've already seen people drop their LinkedIn profiles. That is commendable. You can all connect with yourselves. If you want to find me, you know where I am. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, we recently reached 100,000. So thank you again for your support. And you can also browse through our website, bandaconsults.com, and see the other elements that we, or the other resources that we have. Okay, so we'll perhaps just open the floor for questions. We'll take a couple of questions and then we would call this a day. Thank you all for joining. You can raise your hand if you have a question. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, or you can drop in your question in the chat, and then we'll try and respond. I'll send out a detailed steps after this meeting. All right, so any questions? You can raise your hand. You can raise your hand. And ask a question if you have. Okay, so okay. Yes. Okay, so the certificate, yes, I'll send an email. I'll send an email to all the registrants who attended. And then there's a link to take the assessment, and following the assessment, then you would have the option of paying for the documentation. I don't think it's anything big, because the entire process is free. But this is so that whoever is doing the certificate, whoever is doing the documentation and the coding would be compensated.
Starfire.
That is that. Okay, a lot of thank you. Yeah, thank you all for joining. How do we access the slides? I don't know. I would have to, maybe I'll send the redacted version to all those who attended, if you really want the slides. And I think the video, I may also upload the video somewhere for those who want to rewatch it. Okay, what other okay, super session, thank you. Well, you guys, is it that you don't have questions, or I've managed to confuse all of you?
Some of us we want to raise our hand, but we can't hear.
Oh,
can't
really?
see. Yeah.
Oh, then you can talk. I mean, since I can hear you talking.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Peter Ja. I'm doing natural resources law at the University of Ghana School of Law. I want to find out, with the prompt that you've given, supposing that we've been given a term paper that's the same topic, right? And I'm using Jenny AI, and maybe coincidentally, another colleague is also using one topic, the same prompt. At the end of the day, are we not going to generate the kind of one type of research where they'll be able to detect easily that no, there's something going on here?
Okay. So do you remember the human loop slide that I shared?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Best case for me is that if you're using AI to write, let's say, a research paper or a term paper, you don't let the tool start from scratch. Okay. Starting from scratch and writing everything for you is a bad idea from the beginning for a purely academic work. So what you do is that you, as an individual, would use your own materials to start the drafts. It doesn't matter how bad the draft is. Okay. Just have something drafted in your own language or in your own words. Okay. Your own ideas. And then use a very strong prompt and let, for example, Jenny assist you in paraphrasing what you've already written, in um, in improving the fluency of what you already have. Okay,
Alright.
that is how I would typically use it. But if I'm writing a paper, I won't go to Jenny and say, okay, or I won't go to ChatGPT and say I'm writing a paper on effect of, say, ultra processed foods on heart diseases. So I want you to write me um, a complete introduction from scratch.
Yeah.
Though you can do that, right? You
Yeah.
can do that if you have a very strong prompt. The issue is what happens after the output. If I have the output, I need to be sure every statement is verified. I need to be sure every sentence is in my own words. So typically, if I use a tool like Jenny or ChatGPT to generate a whole paragraph, I still go through and edit it line by line and make sure that I am not simply copying and pasting
Yeah.
what Gen AI has provided or what ChatGPT has provided. That is a very first mistake. So if you use the same prompt and if I give you the same prompt and we both use the same prompt to generate an output and we both submit the same thing, it means that we haven't done the ethical processes we have to go through, right?
Yeah.
Because before I'll submit the work, I'll make sure I'll go through all the steps. Every
Yeah.
lines, every single line, every citation. There are instances where even the citation that ChatGPT or Jenny provides, when I click on that citation, I'll go to the references list of that particular paper and then find other papers that are linked to that original paper so I can read those papers and cite them in addition. So it kind of it's assisting you, but you're not just leaving everything for Jenny to do alone, right? Or for ChatGPT to do alone.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And this, my last question, this one goes to Shane. She did mention that when you are looking, you are using the Genie AI, it has the different reference styles. So I want to find out if Scholar is also bad for legal papers purposes. Scholar referencing.
Don't um I don't know. I haven't seen. Let me see. Did you say Escola?
Scholar footnote. Yeah.
Yeah,
Scholar.
probably. Let me see. Um,
Is
okay.
this a citation style?
Yeah, is
Yes.
it?
Scholar for legal papers. When you are writing
Sure.
law, mostly citing using legal Scholar format.
Okay. I see. Wait. We have over 2,600 styles.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure it should be there. I'm sure it should be there.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
If it's not, can you please just let me know, and then I'll get our product team to add that quickly.
Yeah.
That
So
would be
yeah, so you
great.
can go through. It's about 2,600 different styles. If you go through and it's still not there, yeah, we can reach out to Shane, and then
All
they
right.
can work on it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes, please.
Yes, good day. This is Julia Rabel from Trinidad and Tobago. I just have one particular question. Let's say I draft and prepared my manuscript manually, and I would like to use AI to check for the strength, the clarity, or any improvement that should be made, like an advice. Will this be allowed, or is it that you have to declare that you use this AI prompt to before submission to the journal?
I don't know if I understand your question well. But the bottom line is that whatever you generate with AI, I know we are trying to stay within the ethical boundaries. But there are times that we've all used AI to brainstorm new ideas, used AI to assess new concepts. The one advice I'll provide is that before you submit any work that AI has assisted with, you have to go back to principle number one. Can you defend every single line in that work? There are instances where, for example, I'm working on a paper or I'm reviewing a paper and let's say I use ChatGPT to come up with a new concept. At that particular point in time, that idea is not mine, so I can't use it. I would go back and read about the concept, whether through an article or through a video or through an element, try to understand the concept much better to the extent that I can defend it before I would say, okay, now I am comfortable submitting this as my own, right? So the bottom line is that I started with brainstorming. I came up with a new idea, a new question, a new concept, but I took the time to go back from the basics and learn about that concept to the point that I can say, okay, I understand this concept, I can defend this concept. That is the only time I will submit that work. Okay. So it comes down to you understanding what the AI is giving you, and you understanding that whatever you're writing is in your own words, or it is your idea, or it's an idea you definitely can defend. Yeah, so I don't know whether this answers your question, but I'm kind of giving a rough guidance, a core principle that we all should use. AI is evolving, definitely. There are times that it can provide you with something that you don't even know. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but you have to take the time, go back, read it, understand the concept, make sure it's verifiable, and then if you want to submit it, you can submit it. I've seen a couple of situations where people have used AI to generate a whole research article, but they will go through each step of the article, each line of the article, edit it, make sure it's factually accurate, And then yeah, they can disclose it in their disclosure statement. So that is how I would approach it.
Thank you. I was more in line with asking, like, if I already prepared my manuscript, it's manual, I could defend every line, and I just wanted AI to just do a quick review to see if it is clear, if it's advise any sort of improvement is before submission. Do I have to, you understand, before I submit, so that I will go back again and see how I could improve it manually, not necessarily tell it to do the AI improved methodology or anything like that, and let it do it. I know I have to disclose the AI in that stage, but just to check it to see, okay, based on a criteria, to see if it is suitable or have a high chance of accessible to be accepted by the journal. Just
Okay.
to know if that's possible.
Okay, I understand it. All right, so no, in that sense, you don't have to disclose it because the AI tool didn't change any material value or the content of your article. What you're using, I know there are platforms that can review your article and say, okay, this article has this chance of being accepted, or these are the weak areas in your article, or these are the strength of your article. If the AI is not adding anything new to your original article, then you don't need to disclose it. But the moment you, for example, it says this paragraph is weak, and then you apply and edit that, okay, strengthen the argument or paraphrase this paragraph. The moment you use it and it changes it, then you have to perhaps disclose it that you use it to, you know, paraphrase your work, you use it to improve the fluency or to check grammar or whatever. But if you're merely uploading to check whether it is submission ready, I'll say that you don't need to disclose it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Dr. Badu, I have a
Hello.
question. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Badu, I know you are with John Hopkins, and through the slides, you demonstrated that your students also use the Hop AI. So my only question here is based on research integrity, like for peer-reviewed articles, does John Hopkins research articles written by students approve of AI to be submitted for peer reviews?
Yeah, so I mean, when I say you can't use AI to write your whole article for you, right? You would have to do your own data analysis. You would have to do your own literature review. So see, it's the bottom line is that there's no there's no shortcut. If you want to use AI for AI to do everything for you, I mean, you would usually find yourself in trouble because you submit something you cannot defend. So even if you want to use AI for every step of the way of your research paper, let's say you even have you have data and you want ChatGPT to help you brainstorm the kind of research questions you can ask. That is not a problem. You understand the concept, you understand it. So you can brainstorm with an AI platform to kind of give you, tighten up your research question. After that, you can use an AI platform to help you draft or give you a structured outline. This is actually in the yellow zone and it's a bit into the red zone. But the key thing I'm saying here is that even if you use AI to generate from scratch your introduction for your paper, you still have to go through each section line by line, each references, make sure it makes sense, make sure it follows the correct architecture of how an introduction should be written. Make sure it's not generic. Make sure you edit. If you go through all those processes and you come up with a paper and you disclose that you used AI in these steps, brainstorming, paraphrasing your work, or improving the fluency or the flow of your paper, yes, you can do that if you disclose it and if you understand what you use the AI for. Okay, but you can't use AI to do say a literature review and you don't review any aspect of it and you submit it. No, that goes against the ethical principles. And the example I'm using here for Hopkins is that Hopkins is an internal. This is for students, so it's for student use. And if you're writing an article, you still have to abide by the guidelines from the publishers, right? You still have to understand which journal you're submitting your paper to, and then you can adjust your disclosure statement and everything to the journal. But yes, you can use AI to help you either refining your introduction or refining the arguments of your discussion or your conclusion, or asking AI to help you come up with ideas on how to organize your paper, table 1, table 2, as long as you can go through, understand it, verify it. So to the extent that if they call you to ask you questions on your paper, or you turn up in a Viva and you're being asked about the paper, you can justify it, every methodology, every statement. That is the mindset that I want every student or every researcher to have. Because the truth is that AI is evolving, AI is getting better as doing things, AI is getting, more sophisticated. So there will be a time that, there'll be certain platforms that can literally start from scratch to every single thing. You can even upload your data. It can analyze the data. It can come up with graphs. It can do all those things. But you, the person that you're sitting behind the chart, do you understand any of it? That will be the bottom line. If you don't understand it, then your output is useless. But if you understand it, then AI is making you more efficient, right? AI is making you more efficient. So that is what I would say.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So are you going to upload the slides for us for this training?
Let me consult the gods.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Badges. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Good
Doc.
evening. And before you come in, I mean, like, I'm glad that you've all attended. Another way to also promote or to say thank you to Shane and Jenny AI is to make a post about your reflections about the session on LinkedIn. You can tag me. You can mention me. You can mention Jane. You can mention Jenny in your post, and one or two things you learned from
All
the
right.
workshop.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, evening.
Okay, I want to thank you so much for the section. I learned a lot, and yeah, it's an eye opener, and I really appreciate. Quick question. I want to ask, how can we assess the certificates after? Is it after the end of section, an email will be sent to us, or the
Yes, after the
assessment?
section, I'll send an email to all the attendees.
All
And then,
right.
yes. and then there's an assessment to be done. I think it's 5 questions. And then there is a component where you would have to pay a fee. It's not that much. It's just to help with the manual coding of the certificate so that every certificate is unique, and then to help with the logistics of designing the certificates. But it's not in any way the cost of the certificate, it's the cost of the processes to get a certificate.
Okay, sir. How much is this fee, please?
I think the last time we checked, it was about $10 or
Oh.
so. Yeah, but I'll send the I don't know if you guys are waiting for the certificate before you make the post, but you can still make the post. I'll send the email right from here after the session.
All right, sir. Can we also have the slides?
Yeah, the slides, I'll consult the girls and then see whether they agree. I have some girls in Nigeria, so when I consult them.
All right, sir. I hope the girls agree.
Good evening,
All right.
Dr. Banda.
Okay, it's 11, so maybe we'll just take 2 additional questions.
Good evening, Dr. Banda. Thank
Good
you very
evening.
much for such an insightful session. I've really learned a lot. Please, I have 2 questions here. I am a master's student at KNUST, and I'm doing my thesis. I've already used other AI tools at the literature level. At the moment, what you've taught us this afternoon, I've gotten to know that the Genie AI will be helping me best. So can I use it to verify what I've done in my literature review as to the various tools that I've already used over there? Can I use Genie AI to do the verification, whether the various citations or the references and the various arguments that it made, I use the previous AI to do clear and intact? That's the first question. The second question is on the side of defending what I have done using the AI tool. Is there any platform in the Genie AI that looking at all what I've used the Genie AI to do, I can go back and then refer to it? Let's say there is a kind of platform, a library, something like that, that I can create it purposely for my thesis, that anything that is related to that thesis, it can save it over there, so that in the years or some time to come, I want to go there and then find out to support how I can defend some of the things that I've stated or done in my research. I can do so. I don't know whether you are getting me, please.
Okay, I'll try and answer this, and maybe if Shane can come in later for the second component. I think for the first part, can Jenny verify what you've used? Can Jenny verify what you've done already with other AI?
Yes, please.
Okay. What I can say is that no AI platform can verify what you've done with another AI platform, or no AI platform can verify the authenticity of your work. That remains you, the researcher or the student. You have to verify it. The platforms may provide you with accurate citations. Let's say I've used Genie AI to write a paper, and Genie AI gives me citations. I can't upload those citations into another platform and ask the platform to verify for me whether those arguments are accurate. You, the student, you, the researcher, you, the scientist, have to go through each reference to make sure that the references are accurate, to make sure that the argument is providing a sound based on your domain. So if me as an epidemiologist, I'm working on a paper and Jenny AI comes up with an argument, I'm the one who should say, okay, this argument makes sense, or this argument doesn't make sense. If I ask another chatbot to tell me whether it is right or wrong, if I go to the exam, the chat GPT will not be there with me. Or if I go to the exam, Jenny AI will not be there with me. So when it comes to verifying that your argument makes sense and your references are accurate, that responsibility is on you. You have to go through each section. What Jenny AI can help you with is, for example, maybe for what you've done already, it can help you maybe strengthen the argument. It can help you paraphrase some of the sentences. It can help you get more sources, as Shane stated. It can help you get additional sources, which you still have to verify to make sure that it is good. I think one issue or one feature I really like about Jenny is in the chatbot, when you have references, you can actually click and the references will take you directly into the paper and the exact section of the paper, so that you read and make sure that, okay, this statement is a fact, is coming from this paper. I think that is the only way you would verify your sources and arguments. When it comes to documentation, I know, so you're talking about documenting your processes. This is more like having a code book. If you're using Stata or if you're using any other data analysis, you want to go back and check the steps you used. For AI platforms, I think for something like Jenny and others, what you can do is to create a unique folder, right? Even in ChatGPT now have projects. You can create a folder under project. You can create a folder under project, and the same in I think in Jenny, you can create a folder or you can create a library, and within that library will represent a project. So what I typically do, my workflow, if I'm using an AI platform for say an extensive work, I create a folder or a library, and I create a Word document within that library. And everything that I do, I write, like I document it in that Word document. So it to be more like an instruction or more like a guideline for you. So you document everything. The only thing that I would say you would have to document, for example, if you're using Jenny AI, the things that you would have to document will perhaps be the prompt you used, the exact prompts you used, what specific features you use, the task itself, paraphrasing, outlining, AI chat, like those elements. But you don't have to go into specific details how the output of the paraphrase or the output of the summary or something, but you should have your own workflow. So I don't know, Shane, if there's something you want to add to that.
Yeah, just one quick thing. I think I wasn't sure if I understood the question right. If it's about tracking the changes in your document or your research project, I think. We do have version histories available, so you can always go back and check what things changed, what was added, what was basically refined within a certain document. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I think that should be helpful. But the bottom line is that you would have to always, the reason why AI is good, but it will differentiate those who know from those who don't. Okay. If you know what you're doing, AI is super helpful. It's very effective. It's very efficient. But if you have no idea what you're using it for, no matter how good the AI platform is, you still fall short. So if you generate something, I know in our course of research, there are times that you generate something and it sounds so good, but that's the first time you're actually hearing it. If it's the first time you're coming across it, that doesn't mean it's wrong. The best approach for me, and I always do this, is to go and search for other sources. Maybe there's a new concept that ChatGPT has brought up. I'll go search for articles, read the article, make sure I understand that concept before I would even try and submit that work as mine. Because it's really embarrassing for you to be asked about a certain concept or a certain methodology that you've cited in your paper and you have no idea what that means. Right. So that is what I have. So yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, that's
Okay.
Comfort speaking from Uganda.
Okay, Comfort, the last question is
I
for
want
you.
to ask about the expiration of, okay, the expiration of the code given us. Does it have an expiration date? And also for the payment for the certification, because I have issues with my account. I may not be able to pay until I resolve those issues. So
I think
the
Shane,
given us, will it expire or can I still do that after 2 weeks or so?
Shane, is it possible to extend the 48 hours deadline for specific people who may have issues?
Yeah, that's fine. I can extend the code, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you very much. I will extend my name and email to you. I have issues with my account. I'm trying to resolve it.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, thank you all so much for showing up. Hopefully this has been helpful for all of us. I mean, me myself, I read a lot of articles to put this together, so it's a learning process for all of us. Hopefully you can use one or two of the frameworks that we discussed. Shane, any last words?
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for participating and asking questions and for your interest in using Jenny. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know through my email, shane@jenny.ai, and I'll be happy to answer any of them.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for your time. It's still Saturday morning. Until next time, hopefully we'll have opportunity to organize similar workshops in the future. So thank you all for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye. I'll send out the email very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo.
Ah.